Welcome to the True Love Secrets Revealed Online Summit. Today, we have Arielle Ford joining us. Arielle Ford is a love and relationship expert and a leading personality in the personal growth and contemporary spirituality movement. For the last 25 years, she has been living, teaching, and promoting consciousness through all forms of media. Her mission is to help people find love, keep love, and most importantly, be love. Thank you for being here, Arielle.
Thank you.
So you believe that we must learn to be personally responsible for our own happiness in life and especially in relationships. That seems a little bit counterintuitive. Will you mind to explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so let's talk about happiness first, okay? So for most people, happiness is dependent upon a person, a thing, an experience, something that could come and go. So if today's my birthday and you give me a gift, that might make me happy. But an hour from now, I might forget about the gift. So the happy feeling is gone. So I believe that happiness should not be the goal in your life. Contentment should be. And there's a Sanskrit word called santosha. And santosha means utter contentment, means that you can find contentment and peace and tranquility in any moment, no matter what's going on, whether good things or bad things are happening. And when it comes to relationships, single women in particular believe, well, when I get the love, then I'll be happy. And if you ask anybody who's been married to their soulmate for more than a year, asking you, is it happy every day? They're going to tell you the truth, which are there are days when I hate my husband, when I want to kill him, when I wonder, why did I ever do this? Because it's not a consistent state. So it's up to us to find our own happiness and our own contentment. And then when we have the relationship, that's just icing on the cake.
Right, right.
So we are responsible for our own happiness and our own contentment. And one of the best ways to have more of it is to choose really wisely when you're selecting a soulmate, when you're selecting a life partner. So you don't want to be selecting somebody based on your feelings. How I just fell in love with him. I love him so much. It feels like champagne bubbles are going through my veins. I feel like I've known him for lifetimes. All I can do is think about him and obsess about him. I'm going to marry him.
Right.
Now, I had this conversation with a client the other day. She was telling me about this guy she was crazy about and so attracted to. The guy is an underemployed, alcoholic, rageaholic, who happens to be very good looking and probably a bit sociopathic, super charming. There's nothing about this guy that says he's going to be a good father and a good husband. It's just sexual chemistry. And yet I can't stop thinking about him. And you know what? You need to stop thinking about him.
Right.
Because if what you're doing is setting yourself up for a life partner for the rest of your life, then you need to really know what the elements are that make a great long-term, lasting, committed, monogamous relationship.
Right.
And that involves being with somebody with whom you have connection, strong communication, which can be learned, some chemistry, although chemistry is really not the most important thing. The number one most important thing in being able to predict if a relationship's going to last is a shared vision for the future. We want the same things. We're going to be best friends. We're going to be honest and truthful with each other. We understand there will be ups and downs and nobody's going to run away. So you have to really be a mature adult in order to manifest long-term love.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not like a rom-com. It's not like you step off the curb and you trip. and Bradley Cooper catches you and you look into each other's eyes and boom, this is your
Right.
partner for life. It may not matter that, he's actually a drug addicted bisexual with a criminal history. All you
Right.
know is you're having this chemical reaction, and that's not how to base the rest of your life.
So what a woman in that situation, like your client, can do if she's in a dating or in a relationship with a guy that the guy you
Well,
described.
the first thing she does, and we had this conversation, is you stop talking to him. You
Okay,
completely block him on every level. There's
no
no
contact.
purpose. There's just no purpose to it. We, especially women who work, we have busy lives. We don't have enough time to see the people we already love,
I know.
wasting time with somebody that gets us excited. Now, one of the things I tell people when somebody like that shows up in your life, this is God testing you.
Mm,
God testing you to see, are you really committed to finding your soulmate life partner? Or are you just committed to having the drug high? Because that's what it is. It's your brain on drugs. It's your brain
right,
on adrenaline and oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin. And it's the best drug feeling in the world, but it
right.
has absolutely nothing to do with real love and a lifetime commitment. So you have to stop. It's just like, let's say you decide, you know what, the holiday season, I've been eating cookies and cake and overeating, and I've put on a few pounds, and now it's January, and I've decided I'm going to get in shape and lose weight, right? So are you going to be eating cheesecake or hot fudge sundaes every night for dinner? Now, are you going to want it? Yes, of course you're going to want it. You're going to see that cheesecake or carrot cake or German chocolate cake or red velvet cake or whatever it is. And you're going to say, oh, I really want that. But no, I'm a mature adult. I've decided that for the month of January, I'm giving up sugar and alcohol or whatever it is you've said you're going to do. And then you do it.
Yes,
Because
it's
it's
a
not going
great
to get great. And
opportunity.
you have to say, thank you, God, for testing me. Thank you for having me recommit that what I'm up to is opening my heart and my life to finding real love.
Beautiful. You mentioned already a few things that we have to look for when we are looking for true love and a healthy relationship that will be sustained over time. But what is love? Because the
Good
word love
question.
gets thrown, and there are so many meanings that we can give to that
Yes.
word.
Yes. And unfortunately, in the English language, we only have the one word for love. In other languages, I think it's Greek, there's like 117 words for
Oh my
love,
goodness.
right? So real, mature, lifetime lasting love is not a feeling. It's a
Mm,
behavior. It's a choice. It's an action. It's a decision. It's a way of being. And there are good feelings that come and go, but the feelings are not the love. It's like you and I get married. We take sacred vows to take care of each other and to be together. And there will be days when we're not getting along at all. I may not even like you anymore. You may not even like me. And it doesn't mean that I don't love you, because my behavior will be respectful and loving, because those are the vows that I took. So understanding that love is not about feelings. You often hear people say, well, why did you break up? Well, I wasn't in love with him or her anymore.
mm,
Yes, I love him. Yes, I love her. They're a good person, but I'm not in love anymore. Well,
right.
how long do you think in love lasts for? You know, you know, uh, on the chemistry level where it's measurable, 6 months to 3 years. And that doesn't mean you're still not committed and still not loving, but the actual drug high of being in love does
Right.
not last forever, but it does come in and it does go, right? And you have to understand that, especially if you're going to have children with somebody. You can't be running around going, oh God, we have 4 kids together and I'm just not in love anymore. Well, you know what? You chose to bring 4 souls onto the planet. You, you have a responsibility, and so does your partner, to figure out a way to make it all work so your kid has a healthy chance at life.
Right.
But people aren't thinking about that. They're just going for the drug high. Oh, I met somebody. I've got butterflies in my stomach. And I tell people, you know what? If you have butterflies in your stomach, that may be a red flag. That may be your pattern. That may be God trying to tell you, oh, you know what? This one's like the last one and the one before that. And if you've got a
Right.
history,
Oh my
right?
God, that is
If that's your
awesome.
history, don't go for that. You know, when I work with people, which I rarely do anymore, but when I do, one of the hard, fast rules I have is that you can't just go out with somebody once. The
Mhm.
only time you can go out with somebody once is if that they so completely and totally gross you out that
Right.
you just can't be in their presence. Otherwise, if they didn't gross you out, give them a second chance, right?
Right.
Don't start thinking, oh, I'm going to open the door and I'm going to look into their eyes and I'm just going to know. You're
Right.
not. You're not going to know. Like almost all of my friends and certainly all my colleagues in the love expert field are in long-term, happy, committed soulmate relationships. And I've talked to all of them about this. And none of them knew when they first met that this was the one. You know, I think that happens in maybe 2% of the cases where you just knew and you were right.
Yes.
You know, that's not how it works. It's just like, you know, you go looking for a job. Okay, well, I have a degree in X, Y, and Z, and I have 10 years experience of this, and I really enjoy doing that. And I'm going to put my resume out there. And then suddenly you get something that looks good on paper. Oh, I'm going to take that job. You didn't bother to vet the company or look them up or see what happened to the last person in your position. No, I'll take that. That looks good. Nobody would be that stupid. But
Right.
we do that in relationships all the time, especially when we're dating. Oh, yes, okay. Dating sucks for a lot of people. That's just the truth. But it's how it happens, right? You can't not date. So what
Right.
you have to do is learn to discern, you know, and maybe you are dating three people at once. I tell people keep a journal. Take notes. You're not going to be able to remember everything they said and did, everything you said and did. You know,
Right.
and just because it's looking promising with this one is not a reason to get out of the game and stop dating because you don't know,
Yes.
you know. So
Until
there's a lot of there's a lot of details to the whole thing.
I know. I love absolutely everything you said. And while you were talking, I was remembering one time that I heard you talking on the internet or on the TV. I can't remember. It was a few years ago. I'm gonna paraphrase, so please forgive me if I'm
Okay.
gonna get it super wrong. But you were talking about a situation, you were talking about your book, Wabi Sabi, which ladies go get it, by the way, in Amazon, easy. You get it on your door tomorrow and read that book because it's unbelievable. But you were talking about how your husband used to leave crumbs. He used to eat
Oh,
breakfast.
I left the crumbs.
Oh, you left the ground. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay. And I would like you, if you could please share this, if you don't mind, and it's the last question
Sure.
I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
but you know how being a perfectionist and looking for this image of perfection plays against us. How, you know, having, you call it rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
a
let me explain what wabi sabi is. So I
okay.
wrote this book called Wabi Sabi Love, Finding Perfect Love in Imperfect Relationships,
I
because we
love it.
all already know how imperfect we are,
Yes.
right? And our mates are going to be imperfect, but we live in this culture that has us striving for perfection, striving for the impossible. So wabi sabi is an ancient Japanese aesthetic that honors all things old, worn, imperfect, and impermanent. And it seeks to find beauty and perfection in imperfection. So let's say that this is an ancient Chinese Ming vase, priceless
Mhm.
Ming vase, and it has a long, crooked crack down the center of it. The Japanese would bring it to a museum, they'd put it on a pedestal, they would shine a spotlight on the crack, and then it would become wabi sabi. They would find the beauty and perfection in the imperfection.
That's
And
it.
that's what we need to learn to do for ourselves and for everybody else in our lives. So the story you're talking about happened when early on, this was 26 years ago when Brian and I got together. Um, every morning or almost every morning, he would come into the kitchen and he would ask me, why are there crumbs around the toaster? And I would say, what crumbs? And he would point to them, those crumbs. It's like, oh, okay, I'll wipe them up, And then he would say, why is there a coffee cup in the sink? And I was used to living alone for 44 years. So it's like, it's going to get in the dishwasher someday. He said, how easy would it be to rinse it out and put it in the dishwasher? So this went on for months. I'd see him walking towards the kitchen. It's like, oh no, what is he going to bitch about today? And then one morning, he came into the kitchen and he had this really goofy smile on his face. And I said, what's going on with you? He said, well, I got up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water. And I came into the kitchen and your coffee cup was in the sink and there were crumbs around the toaster. And he said, and I realized in that moment that I was going to spend the rest of my life cleaning up after you. And that's okay because I love you. And your crumbs around the toaster is not your problem, it's my problem.
Oh my God.
So that's what wabi sabi love is. We were all brought up with different things. One of the things, there's a guy at the University of Washington. He's one of the leading marriage experts, and I can't believe I'm blanking out on his name. It'll come to me. And he has been studying marriages for over 50 years.
Gottman, Dr. Gottman?
Yes, Dr. John Gottman. Thank you. And Gottman has found that every single relationship, every single one, has a minimum of 10 irreconcilable differences. These are things we're never going to agree on. And the most common ones are money and sex. And then there's things like, you're the late one, I'm the on time person. I like it cold, you like it hot, different parenting styles. I like to vacation at the beach, you want to be in the mountains. And these are just, habits and preferences that aren't going to change. But it doesn't mean we can't be together. We just have to learn to love and respect the differences.
Right.
And we don't go into marriage knowing that. We think there's something wrong, or even worse, we try to change the person.
I know.
I'm the clean freak, you're the messy one. Or in my case, I'm the messy one, you're the clean freak, right?
Yeah.
And we just have to accept that, and find ways around it. It's like, it's such an extreme in our house. It's like, and you teach people how to treat you, and we train people how to behave. And I'll give you an example. So, here in California, we have 3 things in our kitchen. We have a garbage can, we have a recycling bin, and
Yes.
then we have the composting bin, right?
Oh my
Everybody's got
goodness.
this,
Okay.
right?
We don't
So,
compost.
so that's new. It works really well.
Yeah.
So in the recycling bin, I just, throw in the newspaper, the tin cans, the empty bottles, all of that stuff. And then a little while later, I'll come back and it's all organized. The newspapers are folded, the bottles are standing up. It's like a puzzle. Everything's been
Oh
put
my
together.
goodness.
Because in Brian's mind, he's not OCD, but he's very visual. So he figures it out.
Wow, look at the
And
beauty. Yeah.
but he never once said to me, could you please do it my way? But over the years, I've come to appreciate the effort that he puts into it. And
Right.
I thought, well, it really isn't that much more work for me to fold the newspaper and slide it in, or to put the mail, to stack the mail. Because before I was just throwing stuff in left and right.
Yeah.
So that's what Wabi Sabi Love's all about. We want to be happy. We want our partners to be happy. And there are little things that we can do, to make life more pleasant.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And what is coming up for me very briefly is that the same way your husband Brian, he inspired you over time to fold the newspaper. We can do the same thing with our men. He can be inspired. A great man will want to be better for us. It's like you're a great high quality woman, so you do want to be better. You do want to grow and evolve, and And
Yeah, and part of it is you want to, you know, train and reward. So, let's
dog is
and in my book, Wabi Sabi Love, I actually have scripts in there that teach you how to do this. So
love.
let's say it's your husband's job to take the garbage out every Sunday night or however many times a week, right? But he never does it, and you have to ask and nudge, and you're tired of asking and nudging. So the way you would train him to do it is that the next time he takes the garbage out and he comes back in, you run over to him and you give him a hug and a kiss and you whisper in his ear, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are my hero. I'm
Oh,
so happy you took out the garbage. Because you took out the garbage, I don't have to get my hands dirty or smell that awful smell. You are absolutely brilliant. I love you." Now, of course, he knows this is over the top, but who's not going to like it? And, often you do that. You start to acknowledge what they're doing, just like you would train a dog or a dolphin or a kid. It's the same thing. It's just the reward thing. It's not, and you say thank you a lot. Another one of Gottman's great ideas is that every day you give your mate 5 compliments or you 5 acknowledgments, and it could be at the end of the day when you're getting into bed, you'd say, "You know what? I saw you helping little Johnny with his math homework today. I'm so proud that he has a father who loves him so much."
right,
So you start, what does this mean when you do this? It means you're paying attention.
right.
Right? All day long, you're paying attention, which means you're not looking at your phone all the time. You're actually looking, oh, well, what's Brian doing? Oh, like my husband does some really crazy things. He's in charge of the cats. So he actually plates the food. Like I would open a can and throw it in a bowl and put the bowl down. He
Yeah.
actually arranges the food because he gives them both wet food and dry food and treats in one bowl. And they're highly organized,
I want to be a cat in your house.
Yeah, me too. But, so you just start to notice that, because art's really important to him. Art and architect, like I said, he's very visual. He likes this. I'm not so visual. I'm very auditory,
Uh-huh.
So I'd like my love language is, words of affirmation and physical touch.
Okay.
And he's different that way. So by acknowledging every day, "Oh, thank you so much for picking up the dry cleaning. I've been meaning to do it and I haven't had time. You're so considerate." That's all it is.
I know. They're so
Look
simple
for
in so many
It's
ways.
so simple. And don't we love that when somebody says, "Oh, aren't you looking nice today?"
Oh my God, I love it. I'm like you, words of affirmation and
Yeah.
touch. So yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. And just thank you. Thank you for being. Thank you for
Oh,
existing. Thank you for your work. Thank you. And I know everybody that is watching this is feeling what I'm feeling. I'm gonna add the link to the Wabi Sabi Love also to the
yes, and
email.
also if you could put in thelovethief.com, because when you buy my novel,
Yes.
which is a romantic spiritual thriller, it's really good. I'm not kidding, it's great. You also have access to this Healing the Heart yoga video series that I put together
No
with 8
kidding.
of the world's top yoga teachers. And each one shares a yoga pose and yoga philosophy for healing heartbreak and getting to forgiveness and all that sort of thing.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, that is wonderful. That is
yeah, yeah,
wonderful.
thelovethief.com.
I will add them for you ladies. It's gonna be on the email I'm gonna be sending you. So,
Great.
there is anything else you would like to share with our precious
Yes, there
audience?
is. And this is really important, especially for smart, strong, successful women to know. The first thing is there's no shortage of love in the world. And chances are, if you're struggling with finding love, um, you're probably doing something wrong. And that something wrong is you should be looking for what your heart is calling for what you need, not for what you think you want. If you're a highly ambitious, hardworking, go get 'em kind of person, if you're an alpha female,
Right.
chances are a beta man is going to make you happy. Somebody has to be around to nurture you and nurture the relationship. You don't need somebody who's as busy as you are.
Right.
It's like when people ask my husband, oh, and Brian, what do you do? He smiles and he says, I carry her bags. Because when we first met, I was doing book tours all the time. I was always traveling. And because he had his own thing going that he could control his hours and stuff, he could travel with me, which was so much more fun than being in a hotel room in St. Louis by myself where I didn't know anybody. So you want to ask your heart,
Yeah.
what do I most need in my life? Do I need a loving, hang on, people keep calling me. And really do, and then the other thing is listen to your coach, right? If you've got a coach, listen to your coach. If you would invest tens of thousands of dollars in pursuing leadership skills and learning new things to grow your business and joining masterminds,
Right.
you've done enough of that. Spend money on a love coach. Somebody who's going to be your cheerleader and tell you what you're doing right and steer you to the right place when you're not doing it so right.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so, so much. I
Oh, you're
appreciate it
welcome.
from the bottom of my heart.